So welcome, my dear students. This is your teacher, Dr. Osama Kashwa, and this is another lecture. Okay, we will complete, of course, talking about the risk in the project management, and how we deal with the risk in the project management. We have to check out what is the volume or the level of the risk, and we deal with it based on that, or as a result of the type and the level and the degree and the severity of the risk, we deal with the situation. So we will manage that risk by that way. We will develop a strategy to deal with each type of risk. The probability that the risk will arise is reduced when we use the avoidance strategies, So it will be reduced, but it will never stop. You cannot stop absolutely the risk, but you can reduce the risk. This is the first point which I want to talk about. You can reduce the risk, but totally eliminate it? No, you cannot totally eliminate any type of risk. Minimizing, or this is the first type of strategies, which is avoidance. But it will reduce the risk, not prevent it, though it is avoiding, because you cannot avoid the risk 100%. You cannot. The second point is minimization strategies. The impact of the risk on the project or product will be reduced when you use minimization strategies to handle or to deal with the type of risk which you have here. Contingency plans. If the risk arises, contingency plans are plans to deal with that risk. Contingency means based on the situation. Contingency means based on the situation. So if you have a kind of risk, then you will deal with it. So that will the risk will be going down to lowest levels. I will have many plans, so I will put many scenarios. In case this event happen, I will deal with that scenario. In case this event happen, I will deal with the second scenario, and so on. Example for the risk avoidance. When we use defective components, like replace potentially defective components with bought-in components of known reliability. Okay, so I will use a trust or a person with a trust the components of the raw materials which I bring. I will bring it from a reliable source or supplier, and that will reduce the risk. The others, I don't know, maybe the risk will be increased and he might deliver me defective materials or whatever. So in that case, I use the risk avoidance. Then I will say, I don't want this supplier. I need another supplier who will give me my raw materials, and at the same time, I will be quite sure, because I trust this guy and I worked with him many times before, and I know that he will never cheat me. Minimization strategies like staff illness. Okay. Staff illness. If one of the staff is sick, recognize team so that there is a more overlap of work and people therefore understand each other job. So if you do like job rotation or job enrichment and job enlargement, that means everybody, I will know the job of the other guy, and the other guy will know the job of mine. So in that case, if someone's absent or someone is ill or sick, or he cannot come to work, or he went to vacation, in all the cases, the use of the minimization strategy tell me to know the work of the other. So if the other is absent, I can replace him. I can relieve him in that work as long as he's not there. This will minimize strategies. Also, the contingency plan. What about the contingency plan? We said it's organizational financial problem. Like prepare a briefing document for senior management, showing how the project is making a very important contribution to the goals of the business. So prepare a document for senior management, show how the project is making a development. This is contingency plan. We talked about the work breakdown yesterday, and we will talk in details now about the work breakdown again. Activities in project should be organized to produce tangible outputs. That's what we want, the tangible outputs. We are there for producing the outputs of the final product for management to judge progress. Milestones, what are the milestones? The end point of a process activity. Okay, now this shirt is composed, or the components is the sleeve and the front of the shirt, and this the collar and the sleeves and the front of the shirt. So the collar is done in one place. The end of this place is called the milestone, and it's also the start of the new place. End point of a process activity, we call it milestone, is end point of a process activity. Don't forget, milestone is the end point of a process activity. Deliverable, a project results delivered to customers. So the deliverable, or when it is delivered to the customer, the outputs, your product, okay, and this is the final, and this is the closing phase. Okay, to establish a milestone, the software process must be broken down into basic activities with associated outputs. So I will have activities, and each activity will be some, like we said yesterday, the breakdown, like the example of, as example, cleaning the room or whatever. The same thing which we said, we will break down these jobs into cleaning the carpets, cleaning the rugs, cleaning the desks, wash the glass or the windows. All those are breakdown activities, which all together come at the end to be the whole project. Okay, milestones and deliverables here, like we said, activities, feasible study, requirements analysis, user requirements, prototype. So the first time the feasible study here will tell me if this project, like it's okay to do it or no? Can we do it or no? Is it like the benefits are more than the costs when we do cost benefit analysis, or the costs are more than the benefit itself? Then we will come to know from the feasible study. Within this will be, like, sometimes you ask about, there is a gold mine, why they are not using this gold to extract the gold? Then you will come to see that for extracting 1 gram of this gold, it might cost more than its value. So if the gram will be paid, will be like the price, the selling price of 1 gram of gold, as example, $100, just to extract 1 gram of gold might cost me more than this $100. In that case, why should I go for proceed? I shouldn't proceed in that case, because the costs are more than the benefits. The cost would be more than the benefits. That's why I have to stop. And so every project will start with a feasible study, which tell me where I am now, where I want to go, how I will go there, and at the same time, it tell me the benefit and cost analysis, give me a benefit and cost impression or analysis about the situation. Okay. Okay, once the feasible study is done and we wrote the feasible report, feasible report is presented, then we go to the second step. Second step is requirements analysis. Okay, so what we need as inputs, what are the raw materials there? What are all the things which we need for the production or for the delivery of our own product or to the end user? What we need in this stage, we want to know the user requirements, okay? Third step in the project management is the prototype development. The prototype development. So what is the prototype development? Prototype development simply means that you will not launch your product in the market all at once. You have to first check the markets. You have to examine the markets. If this product will be helpful, it would be successful in the markets, and it will has a very big, large, or a very big market share, or how the sales in it will be going. So you don't go launch a mass production. You don't go in a huge or large scale production. No, you go just on a prototype. It's like a samples. It's like a samples from the origin, okay? And you just check and test the markets with your product and see how it will be like. Will the market accept it or no? Then get feedback about this. The feedback will be done within what we call the evaluation report. Will be done within the evaluation report. Okay, then after this, we come to the stage of design study. The stage of design study, which is architectural design. You will start design your product, okay? Then, so it needs architectural designs or whatever. Then after this comes the final stage, which is requirements specification or the system requirements. And all those you see like deliverable is connected to those 2 points, to the user requirements and the system requirements. Both of them will pour in the deliverable, in the product itself, will come for the benefit or the favor of the product. Deliverable means the product that should be delivered into the final consumer or the end consumer, like we said before. So work breakdown, we're still in the work breakdown activities, and this is the second lecture in work breakdown activities. As a team, the project, organizing a party, identify the milestones and the deliverables of this project. This for as a team. Also the task, we'll see the tasks here. The task, choosing a date and time. So the milestone is the dates and times. Choosing guests, the list of guests. Selecting venue, name of the venue. Reserving venue, reservation number, invoice. Sending guest invitation, the invitation card for the deliverable, and the milestone is invitation card. The task is sending guest invitation card, also the deliverable is invitation card. Selecting catering company, we need the milestone, the name of the company. The task, selecting beverages, food and dessert. So the milestone is the menu and the deliverable is the menu. So a milestone, what I want to say here, that a milestone is something that identifies the end of a task. A deliverable is something delivered to the customer or beneficiary. So the milestone is in the way for the deliverable, okay? It's something that identifies the end of a task. End of a task, but not end of all the work. A deliverable is something delivered to the customer or beneficiary. This is after the milestones comes the deliverable. Deliverable will come after the milestones, at the end of the milestones. Okay. So now we'll talk about the project scheduling. What do you mean by project scheduling? Split project, we will split, like we said, the project now after the breakdown. And we said yesterday in the previous lecture, we said that the breakdown doesn't care so much about the chronological order. It doesn't care too much about which step or which phase will come before which phase, because this is the work of the scheduling department, which care about this point, which step come before the other. Okay. Split project into tasks and estimate time and resources required to complete the task. Organize the tasks currently to make optimal use for the workforce. These are the purposes of the project scheduling. Those are the why do we do a project scheduling. Split project into tasks and estimate time and resources required for each task. So as example, the shirt will be one phase to do the collar, one phase to do the front of the shirt, one phase to do the back of the shirt, then one phase for stitching, then one phase for laundry, then one case for packaging, then other case for packing and uploading to the trucks, okay, or sending to the final consumer. So those are the phases. So we say split the project into tasks and estimate time and resources required to complete each task. So to do the collar, we need 100 meters of fabrics, and we need thread, we need, as example, we need also pins, and we need so all what we need from the raw materials. We need scissors, all the equipments we'll need for doing the collar. Okay. And it needs also time to do this is about 2 weeks or 1 week, and so on. A building to build it, we have first to build the ground floor. So the ground floor will take 15 days or 20 days. We have the time. And the resources, we need about 500 cubic meter of concrete. We need 2 tons of steel. We need 10 tons of cement, and we need stones like blah, blah, blah. So all those are required. So, and what the time will be taken for the concrete level, it will take about 2 weeks to finish it. So this we call it determining the task, the time, and the resources. Organize tasks concurrently to make optimal use of workforce. So because each one in the organization will be assigned to a part or to a subtask, that means we have to allocate the resources very well, then assign the people who, or the staff or the team members who will be responsible about these subtasks. Minimize task dependencies to avoid delay. So yes, so we said before the risk also, we can reduce this risk. As example, task dependency means that to do this or to finish this part, it depends on me. So I don't want this. I don't want it depend on a particular person. I want this person, even if he's not there, the work will never stop. Because if the work stops because this person is absent, that means it will sustain in the other steps and everything will be down and on a break till we solve the situation. No, in that case, to avoid that, that it will be dependent on that person who is absent or who is sick or he didn't come, in that case, what we will do, we will make job rotation. So I will learn the job of the others and the others will learn the job of mine. So that if I get absent or whatever, or sick or whatever, and that's what I said before, then in that case, the work will never stop and it will never be dependence. Like here, it will never be dependence caused by task waiting for another to complete. So let's say also on the task itself of the operation should be flow without waiting, with trying as much as we can. But sometimes it should be like you have to wait this phase till the other phase, the previous phase is done. Okay, some phases like this, but try whatever you can to reduce the level of dependency between the stages or the phases. Okay, minimize task dependence to avoid delays caused by one task waiting for another to complete. Dependent or project managers' intuitions and experience also play a big role in working for the scheduling. What are the process of the project scheduling process? Very, very important. What are those steps? The steps of project scheduling process. First of all, identify the activities, software requirements, then identify activity dependencies, activities which depend on each other. First of all, we will identify all the activities that also need software requirements. Okay. After this, estimate the resources for the activities. Once we decided the activities, then we will go to estimate the resources of for each activity. We will go for estimating the resources for each activity. Then, as example, we will start with the ground floor, building the ground floor. Okay, the ground floor will take concrete like this, will take amount of steel, 2 tons, will take 15 tons of cement. Then we allocate and the time as well. We allocate the resources. We decide or determine the resources we need, and in the same, or the materials or the inputs. Resources, materials, inputs, all are the same meaning. And also deciding the time for less for each activity of those activities. Okay. So after this, we will allocate the people into the activities, like we said before. Once the activities are done, which we call it the subtasks, then Osama is responsible about this point, Zaid is responsible about this point, X is responsible about that point, everyone are about this activity, everyone will be responsible about part of the job itself. Create project charts also. That's what we will do when we come to talk about Gantt charts. When we talk about Gantt charts, and let me show you a partially Gantt chart. Sorry about that. I'm just look for Gantt chart 1 second. I can see also here. Let us see this one. Let me show you how Gantt, here it is. So this is the Gantt chart. It shows us the flow of each activities with the duration of time. So it showed me as example that A and B can done in the same time, but C have to wait till B is done. That means that C depend on B. D also, I cannot start the phase D before the phase C is done or finished. I cannot also start the phase E before the phase D is done. But one thing, I can do 2 activities here in the phase D. I can do the activity which is called G and F in the same time. As example, in the building, you can use in the same time the guy who's tiling, putting the tiles, or the guy who's painting and the guy who's plumbing. So you can use both of them. You can do the carpentry, and you can, if you are building a house, you can do the carpentry and you can do the plumbing at the same time. So those 2 activities does not object or contradict with each other. After that, E stage will start, E stage depend on D. Then I have G and H and I depend on E, but G and H and I can be done simultaneously. They can be done in the same time, G and H and I. Once again, the stage J We cannot start the stage J before the end of the J and H and I. All those three, J is depending on those three. So we can start any one of them, J, without finishing those stages. Okay, J as example, if you will say we'll put the furniture in the house. So you cannot put the furniture without plumbing, without carpentry, without tiling, without painting. So everything must be done from all these stages. Gantt chart also show me very important point, which is that from the start itself till the end, the work will take 19 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 weeks. Okay. So, and it will be like done deliverable by the start of week 19, not the end of the week 19, because we start from the zero level here. So it will be ended by the end of week 18 and the start of week 19. So this was just a clear idea, quick idea about what do we mean regarding the phases, and what do we mean by the word dependent, and what do we mean by the word independent, and at the same time the dependent, which pause and take a break and go and play till the previous stage is done. This is the meaning of the word dependent. Then we create the project charts. This is what I showed you just now, the activity charts and the bar charts, and that's what I showed you right now. So bar charts and activity charts, it's a graphic notations used to illustrate the project schedule. Show project breakdowns into tasks. Tasks should be not to be too small, like we said yesterday, because there will be a person assigned to these tasks. So it must be mild or moderate, not so much, not heavy for one person, over capacity, or just a small task. They should take about a week or two. Okay, task should not be too small. So the tasks also in the duration, it shouldn't be too small. It must take a week or two to be done, these tasks to be done. Activity charts show task dependency and critical path. Bar charts show schedule against calendar time. So we'll go to this now, but before we go to this, I have some question to ask here. Here as example, we'll say in this page, we talk here about the kinds of risk, types of risk. We'll say here, sorry about that, delete slide, I have to split it. So we'll say here, new slide like this. Define risk and give examples. So we'll define the risk and you will give me some examples about the risk here. Like I showed you, this is the question, define the risk and give examples. So that we will have some types of risk and how you'll deal with it, and how also you deal. How will you deal with the risk? How will you deal with different types of risk? In project, how you will deal with different kinds of risk in any project. So these are two questions. I'll stop here for around 5 minutes, then we'll go to the next question. So, okay, we're back. This was the first question, and I want you to send the answer on Google Chat. Let me remind you what the Google Chat is. The Google Chat is here. On the chat box, you will send your answers, like as example, this, and send it to me here. So that's what you will do regarding the Google Sheet. Okay. This now is the other question of how will you deal with the different types of risks? And this was our second question today regarding the risk and the types of risk. So what they define risk and give examples and how you will deal with the types of risk. I will move on to the second question, which is define let me say here, define work breakdown and its steps. Define work breakdown and its steps, particular, of course. And this is our second question today, third question. Define the work breakdown and its steps. Okay, so here we go. Actually, I would like just this question to be up like here. Okay, no problem, it's okay, I'll return it back. Define work breakdown and its steps. And this is our second question today, or third question today. And I will give you here also around 5 minutes to answer this question. Define work breakdown and its steps, and we'll take here around 5 minutes to finish this question. Thank you. Also send the answers on Google on the chat box. Here we go again. Now we will go move on to our next question, which is what are the project scheduling process? So here we will go into a new slide. So here we go. What are the project scheduling process? And here also, we will wait around 5 minutes for your answers here. What are the project scheduling process? This is another question, so I want everybody just to answer it, please. What are the project scheduling process? And how we will reach it, of course. So you would say the phases, like the phases exactly, you will do this graph and write down the phases of each phase of them. We'll stay around 5 minutes and then we'll move back to the another part. So we're back, and here we go for our, this is the activity network as example, the activity T1, the days it will take 1 day. So after this, the activity T2 will take 2 days or days 2. T3 will take 3 days, T4 5 days, T5 1 day. And the dependency here, T1 and T2, T3 cannot start before T1 and T2 are done. And T4 cannot start before T2 is done. And T5 cannot start before T3 is done. So when we translate this work here, like you see here, we have start of T1 and T2. Then we have T3 and T4 and T5. And this is the end. So once we see here, T1 and T2, T3, duration 3, or T3, T3 cannot start before T1 and T2. Let's see here. Yeah. So here as example, T1 and T2 goes to T3. Once T1 and T2 is done, T3 will start. Okay. Also, if you see T4, which take 5 days, depend on T2. So let's see this. T4 only depend on T2 here. So T4 cannot start without until T2 is ended. So dependency, T4 depend on T2. Then like you see here, T5, it takes less 1 day, but it depends on T3. So if you see here, you will find T5 depends on T3. What about T4? T4, as long as we didn't mention anything, then it goes directly to the end. So T4 here, because nothing is per request, T4, I mean, no stages after T4 should be waiting till T4 is done. So T4 directly, once it's finished, it goes to the end directly. As example, if you are working in a factory that is producing car tires, then it goes directly to the end. Maybe we are just selling the car tires. So it is like this way, it goes as a separate product or separate finished goods, because here it almost show me that this is done and it will go to the end directly to the deliverable stage. So those are the stages of each of those activities. We'll take on the next lecture, we'll see how the project charts work, and we'll see the durations. I have also another example. I will show you a video about it, about the durations, and the idea is the same in all those works. The idea is the same, and I will show you the idea with another example, or we'll get back to another examples in this, but I'm just covering now the theoretical part. Activity, calculate the start and finish of each activity in the activity network shown in the previous slide. Compare this, we'll do this later on. This is the bar chart. Like I told you, it looks like the Gantt chart exactly. And that's how, when we do it with the bar charts, it looked like that way, like exactly Gantt chart, which I showed you. This is regarding these. Just will take also an idea about what is the project cost estimation. The project costs. The project cost estimation, there are 3 parameters involved in computing the total cost of software development project. Hardware and software costs, including maintenance, travel and training costs, effort costs, paying software engineers. So those are the 3 costs for the software of a project. For most projects, the dominant cost in software development is effort cost, the effort cost. So most of them are the effort cost which is paid for the engineers. Okay. Project cost estimation techniques, we have algorithmic cost modeling, we have expert judgment. Those are for the cost estimation. Estimation by analogy, Parkinson's law, pricing to win. For the large project, it is advisable to use several cost estimation techniques and compare the results. Shall go back in upcoming video to the stations, how to build the stations and how to build the work of those stages and how to do this chart. Shall leave you for the moment with the principles itself, which we knew now. And thank you so much for listening to me, and have all a good day. Bye-bye, everyone.